always knew he was a very nice person. But just spending that time, like I said, I loved the way, we all were fully aware of how great a player he was and what he means to that, to not just the city of, not just, Liverpool Football Club, but the city of Liverpool, and then when you see that human side of him, you see that close up, when you see like a canteen, like a lovely woman in a canteen who's working there day in, day out, see Kenny come in singing a song and gets her to finish the chorus, and that's on a daily basis. As soon as Kenny comes in, everyone's eyes lit up because they knew he was there for them. He loved them, and he gives them that. If you had any problem in the world, go and see him. Best man to go and see. He knew that human side of him was unique. For me, it was unique. He was just warm. It was warm. He was just someone that didn't matter what problem it was, go and see him. He's the best man to go and see, the most experienced man, because of what's happened as a manager in his life and what he's had to go through, and able to come through that and also help people come through the worst circumstances, shows what a true man he is. So I could spend all day talking about him. He means that much. He does, and not just myself, but just to what he is. And now he's a sir. It was long overdue, but rightly so. Look, he was an incredible player. He won 3 European Cups. What he was up in Glasgow as well, what he was up in Scotland. In the football world, he's a huge figure. Like I'm always careful. Like I don't go into instances. I don't go into why my appreciation for him is so much. But I think we all know why. I'm a Liverpool supporter. I have a big reason why he means that much. Because you hear the stories, and I've seen the type of impact he was in Liverpool. And I was for Evertonians as well. Evertonians speak of him the same. If you can, like I always even thought, I could be 10% of the man he is. I'd be a very, very proud man. Does he mean worldwide? I think, of course he does. But I don't know whether it's because it's my affection for the club that I concentrate on him as the greatest ever player and the greatest ever human being to play for our club. But I don't know, maybe worldwide is probably someone you might have to ask who's outside of the Liverpool bubble.
So who, apart from him, had the biggest influence on you as a coach?
Sir Bobby Robson. Yeah, Sir Bobby Robson was just like there was times you'd make decisions, strange decisions that I thought were, after the game come off and you think he's lucky, but he'd done it too many times to be luck. So his experience, but also the experience of knowing people, knowing who he needed to really be lenient with, but also who he needed to be hard with and some other people. So he was just how he managed certain situations. If there was instances, how he dealt with the instances, because there will be instances, unfortunately, in football that happens. You're dealing with young men who will make mistakes. But the way he was able to deal with the instance, deal with the individual, if he was wrong, make it look like it was everyone else's fault, if it was a certain individual, or if it wasn't quite their fault and they were a little bit in the wrong, then he'd come down hard. He was just clever how he knew which button to press for which individual, just to keep them all to where he wanted them, and that's playing their best football. So the disciplines, a lot of disciplines off the field, I learned a lot from him, and that's like from your manners and how you are in and around the place, eating at the same time, leaving at the same time. We all eat together, we all leave together. Timing, big on timing. So those type of, those little bits, I used to think, well, do you know, like your grandparents, sort of say, for instance, they pick up on the little stuff. It's always those little, and you're like, how important is that? But actually, when you break it down and you get older, you realise how important they were, and the benefit of why they were doing it. It might not make sense at the time, but you break it down and you're like, that's why I try and stick to now, and I probably appreciate him more since going into coaching than I certainly did when I played with him. But yeah, very thankful, very grateful to have worked so close with him.
And you started off working with children, didn't you? Little ones,
Yeah.
as a coach. Why did you decide to take that route?
Because I knew I needed to learn a lot. And I come up that way football-wise, obviously being a young kid, coming up and progressing. But I needed to learn how to coach. I know what I want to see. I know identity is quite clear with me how I want to play, but how can I put what goes on in my head into practice where players can understand? I think exposing it with real youngsters where, like I said, like tone of voice, language, body language, your moods, younger kids' senses are actually sharper than what sometimes a lot older kids are. You're learning really at the deep end. We sort of see this in reverse sometimes where, you should be working with older ones, they get it quicker. Believe it or not, the younger ones sometimes do. They test you more. They work you more. So I thought, go straight into the deep end. No shortcuts, and just being a gradual, working through the age groups and, getting to know all the players, because young kids have different problems to what your older kids do. So you're learning more and more as you come along. I can tell you one or two kids, I can just see the mood when they're coming in straight away from 9-10 years of age. You have to approach coaching differently with him, because I just know he's not going to be with us today. He's going to struggle today. So I'm learning, but also learning body language, learning how to talk to youngsters is really preparing me for one day going up. And you can't be hard, and that's what I found, because I'm quite strict, and with the 18s allows me to be strict, because I'm teaching them to be young men. But younger level, I've got to be so careful. They get told off when they need to, because it's right to as well. But at the same time, there's always a different element to it. You're sensitive, so like you seem to be more. I found it more in tune with youngsters. Easier it ended up being for me to coach and talk to, because the information, I just found them clever and what anyone can give them credit for. So I've gained a lot from it.